stories you're about to hear are entirely true. They are some of history's most notorious and sinister mysteries. Whenever possible, the actual police and witnesses involved have been used in the recreation of these events. Your hosts, senior mystery analysts Ben Pateski and John Nafziger, have been exploring the paranormal and the unknown for over a year. They dig deep for society's own good, working in the dark to bring the truth to light. This is Drunk Mysteries.
Good morning, good evening, good time of day, whatever the hell it is, to you and yours. My name is John Nafziger, and you're fucking listening to Drunk Mysteries. I am joined with my co-host, as always, Ben Pateski.
That's right, John. My name is Ben, and my last name is Pateski, and today I'm feeling pretty goddamn good. And do you want to know why?
Why is that, Ben?
Because, John, we've received over 5,000 inquiries from faithful fans, listeners, and patrons alike saying that they were going to go online tonight and subscribe and review the podcast that is known as Drunk Mysteries. Now, John,
wow, that's a lot because
John,
it
can I
seems
just
like...
tell you something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, John, do you want to know what the most common cause of death in America is these days?
Ooh, bears.
Lack of appreciation.
Okay, I believe that.
9 out of 10 doctors say that lack of appreciation is the cause of death for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And want to know what you do to not die? You can appreciate our podcast by subscribing and reviewing wherever you listen to podcasts, but preferably in the iTunes store today.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't care if you're old. I don't care if you're young. I don't care if you're a criminal. I don't care if you're fat. What I want you to do is I want you to subscribe and review. And you know what I will do?
What are you going to do, Ben?
I'll offer you a free picture of anything you want me to send.
Wow, that's mighty high of you.
Yep.
That is not an easy task for you to fulfill for every
Send me your
request.
number and I'll send you whatever you want.
That's right. Just send us a screenshot at drunkmysteries@gmail.com of your subscription and review on iTunes, and we'll send you whatever you want a photo of.
I'll take your word for it. You don't have to send us pictures. Just, hit us up, drunkmysteries@gmail.com. And tell me that you sent, you subscribed and reviewed, and I'll shoot you something fucking wild, whatever you want.
I have an important question.
What
are you drinking tonight? I want you to give me a loving review as though it were your Valentine's Day date in the state of Louisiana.
So, longtime listeners of the show will know that we broadcast this podcast from none other than the great city in the great state of Austin in Texas. And one of my favorite places to go in Austin when I'm out in the town in South Austin, which is the part of Austin that I live in, is Uncle Billy's Brewery. Now, Uncle Billy's Brewery is a menagerie, a haberdashery of meats, cheeses, and beers that they brew in the very bar that you're drinking in.
Fantastic case.
Folks, I have brought in multiple dates there. I have gone there just for pleasure. I've even gone there by myself 1 or 2 times.
What would you say is your success rate on dates? You wait. What would you say is your success rate when you bring a date to Uncle Billy's?
Well, it's a numbers game and it's a numbers game. So I'm going to say 10%.
Okay, 10%.
Yeah, so, you've got to bring a lot to get a lot.
Ben is a lot of you listeners out there may be women who use Bumble and or Tinder in the city of Austin, and you'll probably recognize Ben. I feel like Ben has righteously put himself out there,
I've crusaded through the world of internet dating.
Exactly. Like for those of us too afraid,
Yep.
For those of us, every time he goes on a bad date, he says, "I'm doing this for the guy that's at home because he's worried that maybe it won't work," right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just taking risks so you don't have to. But it's not a risk?
What's not a risk, Ben?
So, John, what's not a risk is the Barton Springs Pale Ale brewed by Uncle Billy's Brewery.
I agree.
Here in Austin, Texas. Now, if you're not in Austin, if you're not visiting this great and fabulous free state that we know as Texas, you might have trouble finding Uncle Billy's Brewery. But if you hit us up and this is true, folks, because I've done this before and I will do it again. If you email us at drunkmysteries@gmail.com and say you want to try Uncle Billy's Brewery beer, their Barton Springs Pale Ale, which is like drinking how your orgasm feels.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I agree
exactly.
with that. It's like drinking how your orgasm feels.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's a flavor line.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. Let's put that on a 2020
It
bumper
doesn't
sticker.
taste like
But
an orgasm.
folks, I shit you not. If you email us at drunkmysteries@gmail.com and put in the subject line Uncle Billy's, I will send you a free pack of Barton Springs Pale Ale, a sixer that is. You'll be able to get fucking shit-faced by yourself maybe, or with a loved one, and you can just see what happens.
Wow, man, if that doesn't sell it, I honestly don't know what will. So let's just kind of get into the mystery. So
Yeah.
I want to lead off tonight by talking about tonight we're going to talk about a heist.
Okay.
It's about what we believe to be just two guys who robbed an art museum. But I want to think about, like, maybe this was their art. That's sort of I want to keep that in mind because art takes many forms, both physical, it's music, which is intangible. So to these guys, this heist was their Mona Lisa.
Wow.
It was their, Da Vinci's fucking Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
But
It
these
was
were
their masterpiece is what you're saying.
But these were also probably two just jamokes from somewhere in the United States.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing, John. Is any artist not a jamoke? I mean, I think the point of this mystery is tonight, we're trying to solve how the most artist-like robbers in art robbery history robbed an art museum.
Exactly, Ben. You fucking hit the nail on the head. So, I'm going to dive into the story and the narrative thread. To give you a little bit of an overview, here we go. On March 18th, 1990.
4 days after I was born.
That's true. 13 artworks valued at a combined total of $500 million were stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. The museum initially offered a reward of $5 million for information leading to the art's recovery, but they never really got any tips. Despite efforts by the FBI and multiple probes around the world, no arrests have been made to date and no works of art have been recovered. So, like, we'll get into what they stole, but I mean, these are priceless, timeless. Some of these are priceless, timeless works of art
Well,
that
I mean,
are just
not
like
priceless. They were worth a total of $500
Sure, you're
million.
okay. Yeah, the time. You're right. Timeless.
Yeah.
It definitely had a price. Timeless though, right? Like there were centuries old paintings that are now gone.
Yeah,
That,
but
like,
I mean,
like it's an artifact sort
So-
of thing that was just like it was a thing that's there that like okay, there's only one. It is unique in the entire world. It cannot be reproduced, and now it is missing from sight via heist.
well, here's the thing. I mean, my
it's
answer to that is twofold.
Yeah.
One being that whatever. I mean, there are plenty of great works of art made, and it also feels like, well, actually, no, that's not where I was going with that. What I was going to say is that it seems like this must have been a pretty artistic heist in and of itself, because what is art other than the combination of well put together skills in order to achieve a goal? But wait, John, before you cut me off, let me just add one other thing. Don't you feel like the museum was lowballing by offering a $5 million award for $500 million worth of paintings? Who the fuck is going to give that? You can pay people off before they'll take that reward.
In response, I think because you're in Boston in the 1990s, there's probably Boston had definitely an organized crime element. I think they were hoping somebody would just snitch anonymously, collect the $5 million. Somebody that didn't have the art, basically, right? Because they're just looking for information leading to the arrest. So, like, if 4 degrees of separation guy in Boston is like, I actually heard this rumor about that. You should check it out. And then they arrest him. Here's your $5 million.
Yeah.
You take that deal.
Maybe.
But
I mean,
you called this art. You called this robbery a work of art. If it fit one genre, minimalism.
Yep.
So, around midnight on Sunday morning, March 18th, 1990, a red Dodge Daytona pulled up near, fucking hot rod.
Yep.
It pulled up near the side entrance of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum along Palace Road in Boston. 2 men with police uniforms waited for at least an hour inside the car, possibly just trying to avoid being noticed by people leaving a St. Patrick's Day
So
party
wait, John, we didn't
nearby.
mention that. This was on St. Patty's Day.
Well, no, it's
huh?
Sunday morning. It's March 18th at 1 a.m. So people were out, having been out celebrating Saturday
Yeah, so
St.
this
Patrick's
is the day
Day.
after This is the day after St. Patty's Day.
Exactly. You gotta just lean in. You can't lean back.
Okay, fine. I'll lean in. Jesus.
Later, around 1 a.m., security guard Richard Abath returned to his desk after patrolling the museum to switch positions with a fellow guard, the only other person in the building.
So at this time, Abath opened and quickly shut the Palace Road door, claiming, quote, he was trained to do this to ensure the door was locked. Abath then claimed that security logs from other nights would show that he had done this many times previously. So basically, he's just saying he's following procedures.
Yeah, exactly.
So on March 18th at 1:24 a.m., one of the two men outside, one of these robbers, pushed the buzzer near the door and told security guard Abath that they were policemen. They said that they were policemen who heard of a disturbance in the courtyard, and then they requested to be let inside.
Misdirection.
Yep, Abath knew he should not let these uninvited guests in, but he was unsure on whether the rule applied to police officers. So
He must have been new.
Yeah, I mean, naturally knowing his place, you're not going to tell the cops no if you're a security guard. It's your job.
Yeah, whatever.
You know what I mean? You're not going to die
They're
for
fellow
the place.
men of authority.
Exactly. So soon, security officer Abath could see the men and believe them to be police officers based on their uniforms. Him with his partner on patrol, they decided to buzz in these strange men.
When these faux policemen arrived at the main security desk, one of them told Abath that he looked familiar, and there was a default warrant out for his arrest. Abath stepped out from behind his desk, where the only alarm button to alert the police could be accessed. So they sort of like pulled him, like, get away from that little button.
They fucking fooled him.
He was quickly asked for his identification, and he was ordered to face the wall, but then he was handcuffed. Abath believed the arrest was a complete misunderstanding, but after a while, he realized that he had never been frisked before being cuffed and had not been read his Miranda's rights. And on top of all that, he realized that one of the officers' mustache was made of wax.
So basically, he realizes that these
Fuck.
guys are not only cops, but one of them's wearing a fake mustache.
And I'm in handcuffs. Wow, I'm bad at being a security guard.
Yeah,
This is like...
in his defense, though, I mean, your job as a security guard is observe and report, not stop fucking felons.
But, sure. But they could have, like, they didn't flash a warrant. They didn't flash anything.
No,
Just
my
said-
own. Okay, I
just
know
funny.
I
It's
know
more
we have a
funny.
lot of security guard listeners out there. Most of you, if not all of you, are security
guards.
guards. But here's the thing. They're not the brightest bunch in the world. Like you're not gonna.
So our
you're-
listeners-
Yeah, I mean, but no one listens to us if they're
Tough break.
Harvard
Anyway.
MBAs. But I mean, here's the thing though. I'm just saying, like, if you're a security guard, you're not gonna be expected to fucking. If someone flashes a badge in your face and has a cop uniform on, it's pretty hard to not do what they say without feeling extremely uneasy about. Like that's a lot of authority to flash in someone's
Fair,
face, especially
fair.
if you're just a lowly security guard. They're not fucking
Okay,
lawyers.
you know what? You're right. So, basically they were like, what's going on? This seems odd. So the second security guard arrived minutes later and was also handcuffed because apparently they told him he looked like he was a criminal. After which he asked the intruders why he was being arrested. The thieves/fake cops explained that they were not being arrested, but rather this was a robbery, so they've revealed themselves.
Okay.
And then they just proceeded to take the guards to the museum's basement. They handcuffed the guards to the pipes, and they wrapped duct tapes around their hands, feet, and heads.
So they really tie him up there, don't
They
they?
secured them. You know, they don't want any loose ends or like...
I mean, so far these
Wild
guys are,
cards.
I mean, as far as bank robbers or museum robbers go, they're a class act so far.
I agree.
But John, since the museum was equipped with state-of-the-art technology,
Of course. I
including-
mean, it's not fucking... this isn't a goddamn Goodwill.
Of course not. I mean, but one of the various things that they had were motion detectors, and this is the 1990s, so motion detectors were fucking like
All
top.
the rage.
Yeah, they were top of the notch. So
Somebody came to the museum and was like, yo, do you think you might have thieves in the building? And the curator was like,
Obviously.
Probably. Check this out. This little sensor will detect
When people
motion.
move.
That's crazy. And the guy was probably like, give me 100.
give me 10,000
Give
of those,
me-
please.
200. No, give me 10,000.
All of the motion detectors.
Exactly.
But anyway, so now that this museum has these state-of-the-art motion-detecting devices, the thieves' movement throughout the museum was recorded. But in the 1990s, here's the thing. motion detectors didn't set off alarms. They just recorded motion that people took and then showed it to you later.
You could tell somebody moved there.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're bad motion detectors.
Yeah, they fucking suck at this point.
You kind of not good.
But after tying up the guards, the thieves went upstairs to the Dutch room, the most famous room in the museum.
It's where they kept all their precious arts, their most precious arts.
As one of them approached, the gorgeous 30-foot by 30-foot painting that just portrays thousands of glorious pictures known as Rembrandt's self-portrait, which was created in 1629, the alarm sounded.
Oh, God.
Sounding authorities. As he touched his majestic painting, the thief is said to have said to himself, damn this beauty, but I will have my vengeance.
So they just smashed the alarm. I don't know if that stopped it, but they smashed it. It is the 90s. So they pulled the painting off.
It definitely stopped it if it was the 90s. That's all you had to do to anything
simple.
in the 90s to stop it. Smash it.
They pulled the painting, Rembrandt's self-portrait, off the wall and attempted to take the wooden panel out of its heavy frame.
Bear in mind, it's 30 feet by 30 feet, so it's a big job.
Unsuccessful at the attempt, they left the painting on the floor. They cut Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee
Should we
out of the
explain who
frame.
Rembrandt is?
Rembrandt is a very famous impressionist artist. Like, these are all very, I mean, like, I'm not here to lecture you on art history because I'm not even an expert myself, but I do know enough to know that all of these are somewhat rather famous painters. They're all rather famous painters. Some of the paintings are mid-level fame. Mm-hmm. But they're still they're incredibly valuable.
A lot of money.
Incredibly valuable. As well, and they also took the painting by Rembrandt called A Lady and the Gentleman in Black. They also removed Vermeer's The Concert.
Who's Vermeer?
They're all artists.
You just assume the names are artists.
Yeah.
Unless we tell you.
They moved some guy named Govert Flink's landscape with obelisks from the frames. And additionally, they took a Chinese bronze gu from the Shang Dynasty.
John, what is a gu?
It's a fucking thing made out of bronze.
Okay. It's a giant gu.
Yeah.
So, these state-of-the-art devices known as motion-detecting sensors, they recorded, and their records show that the only footsteps detected in the quote-unquote museum blue room, where some of these works of art were stored, were happened that night at around 12:27 a.m. and again at 12:53 a.m. These times were when they match when Abbott said he passed through on patrol, but the time for the painting was found on the security chief Lyle W. the Monkey Grindle's chair near the front desk. Called the Monkey because Lyle Grindle was so obnoxiously hairy that he looked like a great ape. And it's not a racist thing. He was a white guy, but
he was very hairy.
He was a really hairy guy. But so
thick forearms.
Not thick, just really fucking hairy.
They can be both.
Yeah, I know.
Look,
but
man, if you're gonna say...
so wait. Here's a quote from what's the other security guy's name again? Abbott. So here's a quote from Abbott. We didn't have the name attached to it. Quote, Abbott. Grindle's hair is disgusting. It is coarse and long. It looks like a dog and a porcupine bred to make one some sort of despicable being. I hope for our children's sake that he dies before he's 40.
Real quick, can you tell me who Grindle is?
Yeah, Grindle is
without looking.
He's the chief security officer. He's fucking Abbot's boss.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to ask real quick.
Yeah. No, he's a good dude.
Yeah, all right.
He's just hairy as
He's
shit.
a fucking good dude. So before leaving, the thieves visited the guards in the basement, tied up and handcuffed, and they looked at him and they said, "Look, assholes, you're gonna hear from us in about 1 year exactly, roughly 364 to 366 days." But the guards never heard a word. And 15 years later, the case remains unsolved.
Jesus.
Despite wide-ranging probes by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, otherwise known as the FBI.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And with assist from Scotland Yard, museum directors, friendly dealers, Japanese and French authorities, and a posse of private investigators. Despite hundreds of interviews and new offers of immunity, despite the Gardner's Museum promise of a $5 million reward, despite a coded message, the museum flashed to an anonymous tipster through the financial pages of the Boston Globe. despite oceans of ink
What was that
and
anonymous
miles,
message?
we'll get to it. Despite oceans of ink and miles of film devoted to the subject, despite advice from psychics and a tip from an informant who claims that one of the works is rumbling around in a trailer to avoid detection, there have been no leads, there have been no arrests, and none of these artworks have ever been seen since.
Until tonight.
Sure. So Ben, tell me a little bit more about. Or do you have any questions? Recap for me. Like I want to.
So basically, what we have here is we have a museum that was robbed for a lot of really expensive art, and no one ever found out who did.
Nobody figured it out.
But here's the thing, folks. As you can imagine, with any great heist of our time, a heart-throbbing investigation would soon follow, with none other than the great and late detective John Clancy Adams. So soon, the Federal Bureau of Investigation took control of the case on the grounds that the artwork would likely cross state lines. They thought it would leave Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Who knows
it's
why,
a small
though?
state.
Yeah.
Go to
So-
New York.
Yeah, maybe.
Like-
I mean, so the FBI, they have conducted hundreds of interviews with probes stretching across the world involving Scotland Yard, Japanese, French authorities, basically a plethora of
Everybody.
of agencies from around the world. And,
And
the
private
FBI
art dealers.
Yeah,
And
and-
fucking museum directors.
Yeah,
And
and-
all this shit.
So the FBI believes the thieves were members of a criminal organization based in the Mid-Atlantic to New England area, and that the stolen paintings were moved through Connecticut and the Philadelphia area in the years following the theft. Some of the art may have been offered for sale in Philadelphia in the early 2000s, including The Storm on the Sea of Galilee.
Galilee.
What is that?
Galilee.
Yeah, but what is that?
It's just a famous painting by Rembrandt. Remember, all of these are like, consider them just unique artifacts, right? Like they are one of a kind works of art. There is no substitute. They can't. In a time, it's weird for us to grasp because in a time where everything is replaceable, everything is manufacturable, you can get everything.
Yeah.
These are things that just like they stand alone. They cannot be
They were made
remade.
by extremely talented people a long time ago, and we cannot recreate.
You can't do it. So there's fucking missing still, right? Man, where all right. So, however, their knowledge of what happened to the works after, basically, they thought they moved them out of New York into Philadelphia, but after if they sold them there, the FBI really doesn't know what would have happened to them.
They lost the case went cold.
Yeah, but more or less if they leave Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But one thing that has kind of thrown off investigators throughout this entire process post-heist is that no single motive or pattern has really emerged through thousands of pages of evidence gathered. The selection of works puzzles experts, specifically since more valuable artworks were available. Were the works taken for love, money, ransom, glory, barter, or for some tangled combination of them all? Were the raiders professional or were they
They
amateurs?
seem like professionals.
But were they? Because all they did was buy fake cop uniforms and some duct tape.
It worked really well, though.
It worked, but like but they didn't know what they didn't seem to know what they were after. They skip over, if I may, like they skip over fucking two Raphaels and a Botticelli painting who were like masters in the Renaissance era, and then Titian's The Rape of Europa, which is one of the museum's most well-known and valuable
wait a minute.
pieces.
Here's what I think.
They literally.
Here's what I
hang
think.
on, no, I gotta say something because this is important. Like, this is important to like understanding who these people might have been because if you're robbing a fucking art museum, you're not looking like you're not looking for cash. You're playing a long game, and obviously you know somebody who can move it, right?
Here's the thing. They could have been master... Okay, I have two theories right now. My first theory is this. Is that they were master thieves, but maybe not master art experts. You know what I mean? Like, they knew they had a loose range of valuable paintings they had to get to. And that was that. Or, and this I think is the more probable theory, is that what they were is that they were hired master thieves, and they were hired to specifically get a select few paintings by some sort of unknown entity. Like, think about it this way. Yeah, they skipped over a lot of really valuable works, but they're all giant paintings that can only carry so much. And
I gotta correct you right there. Not all of these are 30-foot by 30-foot paintings.
there's still fucking like
Hey, just hang on.
How big is the average one? 4 feet?
Honestly, probably that size in like
24 inches.
2.5 feet by 18 inches.
Yeah, still.
By a foot and a half.
You have to roll a
That
piss
is
ton of those
That
up.
is far different than 30 feet by 30 feet.
So you have to roll a fucking piss ton of you can only carry so much. That's the reality. And you need to get out of there quickly. So, I mean, here's the thing. The thing is that I feel like they were hired by some sort of third party that wanted them to steal a specific amount. Yeah, to steal specific paintings for reasons unknown.
Okay. And that might be because honestly, like, we don't fucking know anything. Like, honestly, like,
do we know the build of these people out of curiosity?
Medium.
What do you mean medium? There's a lot of medium people out there.
6 foot, 175 to 100
okay, so
to
they're
190
lean.
pounds.
They're lean.
Yeah.
So wait, did they look like former athletes out of curiosity?
The guards did not describe them specifically as being supremely
pudgy?
athletic. Well, you have to take the guards' fucking word for it. They got a first eye account, and they didn't describe them as any more than a medium build. But we digress. We trigress, and we're trying really hard to explain this mystery to you, listeners.
We quadgress.
So the FBI's lead agent assigned to the case was Geoffrey J. Kelly, and he always found it difficult to understand why this assortment of items was stolen despite the thieves being in the museum for enough time to really take whatever they wished. And we talked about that a minute ago, why they did what they did.
They can't carry a lot.
Now, so it happens in 1990, and time goes on. This is art. To make any money off of a heist, you have to move it. You have to, somebody has to pay you for it because the art itself is just a fucking canvas with oil paint on it.
Yeah.
So we have some false sightings. Some people, kind of thought they saw the art, and,
but they didn't.
The closest sightings, and there's even there, it's maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Ben, go ahead. I want you to read for me.
So in 1994, the museum director, Anne Howley received a letter that promised the return of the pieces for $22.6 million. If interested, the museum had to get the newspaper, the Boston Globe, to publish a coded message in a business story. The message was published, but nothing further was heard once law enforcement got involved.
So basically they, it never really... I really tried hard to track down what the message was, but,
we couldn't find it. No one knows.
In some sort of spreadsheet
it's
basically...
the fucking bowels of the Boston Globe right
exactly.
now. But, John, here's the thing. A Boston Herald reporter was driven to a warehouse in the middle of the night in 1997 to
7 years after the heist.
I was only 7 years old. John, how old were you?
8.
Okay. To see what purported to be Rembrandt's Christ in the Storm on the Sea of Galilee, a very famous painting in which it depicts
Christ walking on water.
Okay. So the reporter, Tom Mashberg, had been covering the theft and was allowed to view the painting briefly by flashlight. We're sorry for the burping, folks. That was both of us.
That was the only one we've done all episode, so...
Yeah.
I feel like we're all right.
Okay, so, and was allowed to view the painting briefly by flashlight. When he asked for proof of authenticity, he was given a vial of paint chips that were later confirmed by experts to be Dutch fragments of the 17th century, but not from the Rembrandt. So they were from a different fucking old painting.
Yeah, they were just old-ass fucking paint chips.
Yeah.
So then the painting, whether real or fake, melted from view again, and Tom Mashburn he lost contact with his connections. Since then, there has been no sign of the missing artworks, no arrests, no plausible demands for ransom. It is if the missing stash, now valued as high as $500 million, simply vanished into the chilly Boston night, swallowed up by the shadowy world of stolen art and the void of darkness that is capitalism. Ben, tell me your thoughts and recap real quick. Give me a 30-second version.
30-second version. Okay, so it's a sunny night in Boston in 1990, and then what happens is there's a security guard. His name is Abbott. He is an extremely handsome man with a beautiful wife at home. They have sex 4 times a day. Abbott is nothing if not full of stamina and just passion.
Back to the mystery.
One day, he's manning his post after making love to his wife for hours. And then 2 cops walk in. Abbott, knowing that he is not as high ranking as a cop because he's a security guard, lets these 2 folks right on inside the museum because they're cops and he's not. Next thing Abbott knows, they're telling him he's under arrest.
Yeah.
Because he's got a warrant out that he didn't know about. Abbott assumes it's a mistake, and he just wants to get home to his wife so he can make fucking sweet love to her again and squeeze himself inside of her and tell her sweet nothings. Well, they try to have that first child, which they have been failing to have all this time.
Having sex 4 times a day. I mean, wow.
His sperm count must have been minimal.
Just 5.
Yeah, 5 sperms. Shooting
5
out-
sperm.
5 sperms.
Anyway, what happens?
So, yeah, anywho.
They steal a bunch of art.
They steal some art. Cops investigate. They don't find anyone. Fast forward 28 years, and here we are. No one's caught them.
Got it. Nailed it. Okay. Speculation and theories. So, Ben, due to the, for lack of a better phrase, brutish ways, the criminals handled the robbery, just fucking cutting the paintings from their frames, which is not good if you were trying to sell it, and smashing frames for the 2 Degas sketches that they stole. Investigators believe that the thieves were fucking amateurs. They were not experts. And I'm inclined to believe that, honestly. These guys just fucking thought it was a good. They might, for all we know, they could have been fucking junkies. Like, how hard could it have been to procure a fucking?
How many junkies wear fake mustaches though?
If you're gonna rob a bank, you would think that was a good idea. If you were
maybe in the 90s, but yeah, I don't know. Keep going.
Some investigators believe that the works were destroyed, explaining why they've never been reappeared. Because that would be weird if you I have this painting. It was stolen from Boston in 1990.
Well, I was just thinking though, what if, let's say that you're I don't know, an international salesman of some kind.
Yeah, art salesman.
And no, not even an art salesman. Let's say you work for Exxon, and you're going to Russia to meet with some oligarch because you need to procure a hot new oil deal in Eastern Russia. So you go to this oligarch's house, and he's like, my friend, come inside. And then you go inside, and he tells you to go into his bedroom, and he's like, look at this. It is from the Boston Heist of 1990. And then he has then he has just got some big old fucking painting. You'd be like, holy shit. But you wouldn't fucking rat him out.
No, you
would
wouldn't.
just think that was cool.
Yeah, you would. I would 100% think that was awesome.
I feel like all these paintings are probably in the hands of rich people.
Somebody in their basement.
To show people something.
And you're like, hey man, you ever heard of this?
Yeah,
this was
want to come
stolen.
see something dope real quick?
Do you promise not to be a snitch?
Yeah,
that'd be great. You promise to.
I'd be like, no.
You want to see some cool? You would party in some rich mansion.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is exactly what they are.
Yeah.
Because I've been
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say I've been to houses that have stolen art in them, but I've been to nice ass houses and
me too.
gotten drunk off cocktails with the people that lived in them, and I could easily imagine one of them being 3 beers deep in, being like, you want to see something cool? Or actually, I take that back. 12 beers deep in, and being like, you want to see something cool?
So
and just
true
going
story.
to their basement.
So-
Here it is, Rembrandt's Galilee, Christ on the Sea of Galilee.
Here's the thing. My dad's wife's fucking relatives own this gigantic house in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I went there for Christmas 2 years ago. And it's 200 years old. It's a $10 million house. And I was stoned inside of it. I was just walking around looking for relics and stuff.
There are relics in there.
No, there are. There's big magnifying glasses. It was dope. But I could see a house having been exposed to something like that once. I could see a house they had statues. I could see something.
And also, because 99% of people that would see it would have no idea it was from the stolen museum in Boston.
No, of course not. If you were
30 years ago.
if you're the owner of that house, your basic only rule of thumb is don't have FBI agents over for dinner.
Yeah.
And if you do, put the
good.
thing in the basement.
Hide it. Just don't let them in that room. Wow, that's pretty cool. And what's some more theories that you have heard
So,
of?
John, I've had a couple theories myself, and one of my theories states that Bobby Whitey Bulger, the infamous New England mobster from Boston, was the ringleader of the theft. At the time of the heist, he was Boston's top crime boss and an FBI informant. Another one of my theories is that...
So he could have basically been he orchestrated it, knowing the FBI didn't have the resources to really
Those
investigate.
aren't my theories, but I endorse them.
Sure. What's the next one?
So another theory is that Boston gangster Bobby Donati may have been involved in the heist. He's a famous gangster, if you haven't heard of him. So New England art thief Miles J. Connor Jr. in prison at the time of the robbery. He's another famous fucking thief.
You gotta be tapped into the thief celeb
I mean,
scene.
people, you gotta know.
You gotta follow them on Twitter.
It's like I always say, if you're gonna follow drug mysteries, know your thief game.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, Miles J. Connor Jr. in prison at the time of the robbery has stated that he and associate Bobby Donati eyed the museum in the 80s, and Donati oversaw the operation.
So this guy, Connor, thought that Bobby Donati, they've been talking about it a decade prior, looking at it, and Donati was in charge of everything. So it got robbed. Well, it might have been that dude.
Bobby Donati probably did.
Might have been that dude. Shortly before the robbery, Donati was seen at a nightclub with a sack of police uniforms. Ooh. Donati worked under Boston crime boss Vincent Ferrara and visited him in prison in the early 1990s. When Ferrara asked about the robbery, Donati said he buried the stuff, quote, and would find a way to negotiate his release. Donati was then murdered in 1991 as a result of ongoing gang wars.
Bobby Donati did it, folks. We just solved it. And the reason no one found it is because he buried everything. And
you don't. But what? Okay, but then we go back to motive, because what's the point of robbing an art museum to literally bury all the art? I mean,
no, you're right. I don't buy that. I feel like whoever did it, they took it.
There's a set of 3 super cool families that have stolen ass art in their basements. And they're like, don't bring FBI agents.
I would think more than that. I would think there's 12 families.
Well, I think they stole a combination of 9 works.
Okay.
So if
so you mean 3 families that have these works?
A couple. Each of them has a couple. Because if you're an art, okay. So the matriarch. We're in the we're definitely in the speculative wildly.
Who do you think it was that has these works of arts?
I don't know. I mean,
let's just try to figure it out.
Okay,
right
what
now.
I think it is, who has them, I think would be 3 sort of higher up crime people involved in the crime world, one way or another. Be it dirty white collar crime, be it what have you.
Okay, I have a question.
And basically just being they had the resources to buy the stolen art. Let me speculate wildly. Let me finish my theory. They had the resources to buy the stolen art, and it's in their houses, and they're just chilling, and they're like, well, nobody's going to see it. And yeah, if anybody you think would ever be related to the FBI, just fucking don't let them in that one room. But even then, I even think most FBI agents wouldn't recognize art on sight and be like, oh, that was stolen in 1990.
Unless that was your department.
Exactly. So
it's you're the art guy.
So it's an even narrower sect of people who would be like, this is stolen. This is reappeared.
I would bet there are no more than 5 people in the FBI that would know those works of arts, and
by seeing it on site.
Yeah, because that's just gotta be your department.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or you have to be lucky enough to have
I'm gonna say 20. I'm not gonna say 5, 20.
Okay, fine. Because you might be someone that's just super
I mean, we don't know how big the FBI is.
It's pretty big. And the other thing is, you could just be an FBI guy who's super big into your own history and be just looking up cool fucking cases that are unsolved. Because you want to be the guy that solves
that shit.
Yeah,
that solves that case.
We Wikipedia'd this. I'm sure there's fucking FBI
fucking
people.
asshole.
Yeah.
So Ben, do you have anything else to talk about?
I do, John.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I have a question.
I'm out of notes. I'm out of spill my beans
here. So let's
here.
think about this for a second. So we know these paintings were never found.
We do.
And this happened in the year 1990.
We do.
Since then, the murder rate in America has gone up exponentially.
Okay.
So, my question to you is: do you think that these works of art could have been stolen in order to fund some sort of underground society, which is just hell bent on causing chaos in the United States? John, your thoughts?
In a word, no. I don't think that. I think, if anything, this was probably a trophy heist orchestrated by a organized crime top boss. Maybe Whitey Bulger, but maybe sort of his equal that we are, as the public, aren't even aware of.
Yep.
Because art heist is that it's you're stealing this to be I have that fucking
Blackie Schmolger.
You know what I mean? If you want to get rich, rob a fucking bank. Get precious stones and move them. If you're gonna steal a famous painting, you want to have that and simultaneously only show it to select people as a flex.
The other thing is that's hard to sell too. I want you to think about that for a second.
I've always wondered that. How do you sell stolen art?
Man, I mean, I don't know because I'm not really in that world, so to speak, but I feel like you have to know. Okay, what you need to know. I feel like you need to know someone who has their finger on the pulse of what's wanted in the art world. Because then that person can be like, okay, this will sell for that. Like, I can move. Like, you need to know someone that's just like selling shit.
Yeah, like maybe the reason they didn't fucking steal
black market art dealer. You need to know one of those people.
But again, like, okay, the value in art is almost like it's kind of indefinable, right? It's like whatever. It's just somebody's willing to pay for it. But why would you want art? Like it's to flex on people, right? To be like, I've got this in my house.
Like
It makes this game room look tight.
Imagine you're Vladimir Putin, and there is like an 18th century, I don't know, like
sculpture,
Imperial Russian painting or sculpture of some kind that's sitting in like
a museum in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles or London, and you decide, you know what, I'd like to have that painting in my presidential palace.
That's
because
true.
I'm tired of those fucks having it.
So maybe Putin has all of these.
I mean, none. Were any of these all seemed Italian paintings for most?
Yeah, it's none are Russian based.
I would guarantee that at least 2 of these paintings are in Italy.
All right, I'll take that back.
Yeah,
I like it. I agree with that. Okay.
I would take that, if not more of them. Like,
yeah.
Like, bear in mind, like, if it's some dude named fucking, whose last name is Ferrara and Benetti, like, you know where those paintings are wanted? They're wanted by rich guys in Italy.
Italy, yeah. Okay. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this episode of Drunk Mysteries.
Really?
I think so. I mean, unless you have anything else to say.
I mean, what do you think about politics?
Nothing. So I want to thank our sources, Wikipedia, tonight. I also want to thank, it's called Ripped from the Walls and Headlines. It's written by Robert M. Poole.
Is he reliable?
Yes. It was in the Smithsonian Magazine
wow.
in July 2005. We got some information from him and his article. Anyway, I want to thank all that. Ben, if you've got nothing else, I'm kind of...
So, John, I've got one more thing. Folks, if you could...
Get your pet spayed or neutered.
I mean, the only way we're going to improve as a podcast is if you share our your feedback with us. And you can do that in 3 forms. One is the form of an email to drunkmysteries@gmail.com. 2 is the form of a rating or review, whether it be terrible or really, really good.
5 stars only.
Yep, or whatever stars.
You're forced to give us 1 through 5 stars. You pick your poison.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one would be, the third one is hit us up on Instagram @drunkmysteries on Instagram. Yeah. We've got all kinds of fun things. We do live videos. You'll get to see what we look like. We're 2 incredibly just handsome and chiseled young men.
I have a jawline that could slice bread.
My face looks like it came out of a star.
Anyway, yeah, so you guys know all that. Look, you're hip to the fight. Look, Ben, also we want to thank you because this is our 20th episode. This is a monument in sort of podcasting history, as it were.
We've been doing this for almost 7 years now?
Nope, 5 months. But
5 months.
It seems like 7 years, honestly. But want to thank all the listeners. Want to thank everybody that's joined us, everyone that's supported us, everyone that has already subscribed and reviewed. You're great people, and
you're great people, and you look like magic to me.
And everyone is envious of the size of your genitals.
Yep. Unless you're a girl, then they're
the size of your breasts,
the tininess of your genitals.
Maybe. Anyway, look, that's all we've got for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Drunk Mysteries. Everybody, rock your body, everybody,
Look, John,
rock.
I know I'm not the one you used to know back in high school. Never showing up, never giving a back fool. Thought it would be great, wouldn't it be? Wait, I'm sick of being told to wait my turn, guys.
Hang
on,
real quick. He was a skater boy. And she said, see you later, boy. He wasn't good enough for her. And now he's a superstar slamming on his guitar. Mm-hmm. And who gives a shit, I fucking don't. Ben, this is sound check. You can't be 2 feet away from your microphone.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to fucking hashtag. I'm trying to hashtag it up right now.
Okay, we've got to work on your blocking right now. Because it's bad.
It's not bad.
You lean away from the microphone and it doesn't work. Have you noticed you've been quiet in recent episodes?
Not really.
Well, you have.
Okay, well, fine. I'll be less quiet. I won't lean away when I talk, if that's what you're telling me not to do.
You gotta get close to the microphone.
All right, hold on.
It's a good soundtrack.
Unfortunately, John did not make it
It's
to
a good-
tonight's episode.
It's a good.
Hashtag positive vibes.
You said I died.
Yeah, I said you died. I killed you off.
It's fine.
Okay,
Cliffhanger.
it doesn't. Yeah.
This is the end of season 1.
Sure.
Can I start saying it's season 2 now? When
Yeah,
I go to
we-
Drunk Mysteries.
Season 14 of Drunk
Drunk
Mysteries.
Mysteries.